Right, Marlon's having some sound issues, so everybody, welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It's another episode of the pitch on Monday evenings. I will take over the reins for now until Marlon sorts out his issues. Let's get the panel on. I don't even know what order to go with this week, to be fair. So let's start with this man, Sinclair. How's it going, bro? You good?
Good, mate. I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I caught a little bit of your game the other day. It was a bit of a crazy game.
Yeah. Do you know what? Ups and downs. You take the lead. You think yes, you're in a good position, and then you end up drawing the game. You feel like maybe should have got the 3 points, but should just be happy with the result, especially based on the last run of games that we've had. But yeah, happy
Yeah, it could be
happy
a
to
nice
get.
little turning point for you, to be fair. What?
But well done to yourselves as well for breaking your duck, getting your first trophy in how many years? Was it 50, 60 years?
Yeah, 1969 last trophy, 70 years since our last
Wow.
domestic trophy. So crazy, crazy times yesterday. I didn't want to be the first one to bring it up, but I appreciate you bringing it up for me, Sink. Yesterday is probably one of the most surreal days I've had. I genuinely, a few years ago, thought I'd never see us win a trophy. So yeah, it was
No, I'm glad
crazy. Still buzzing from it, to be fair.
enjoy it.
Let's go with the man who also had a similar feeling not long ago. Stocky, how's it going?
Yeah. Oh, mate, I'm still dying off on my trophy. You're going to get ages out of this.
Oh yeah, and it's an international break as well, so the next 2 weeks are going to be painful to anybody who
Uh,
wants to talk football with me.
Nice to see you looking a bit brighter-eyed today. Last night you was bit rocking and rolling last
It's
night.
cleared, the voice is cleared. There's no slight slurring of words. I'm back to my usual self.
Slight slurring.
And then also our Spurs fan. How's it going, Chris?
Yeah, I guess the trophy talk finishes now. I'm on, does it? I've got nothing to talk about trophy-wise, but I'm all good. Oh, I will say though, genuinely, from like a fan of a team that doesn't really win stuff, it was just really nice. I loved watching Newcastle and what it means to fans when you win something finally, and just the way that the team played yesterday. Like, is everything Tottenham on at the moment, right? I looked at that and thought there's no way we would have put in that kind of performance in a final or frankly in any game. So super happy for Newcastle fans. Like, really, if any club deserves it, man, Newcastle. And in the FA Cup this year, it'd be great to see a team like Villa or someone go on and win it, right? So yeah, good luck to you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much appreciated. But we'll go on to the game. I'm guessing everybody caught it, as Chris has just said. It's one of the best performances I've seen us put in since PSG in the Champions League last year, and it came just at the right time. Whereas the last time we got to the final, it was the complete opposite. We didn't show up on the day. I think we took it as too much of a party last time. Whereas this time, I said to a few people, this just feels more like business. It doesn't feel like we're over celebrating. It doesn't feel like we're just there to enjoy the day out. It feels like we're there to do a job. But Sink, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, it's very much came across like a job that needed to be done. Wasn't about style or anything like that, just get the job done. Effective football. You exploited your strengths and they exploited their weaknesses on the goals, and that's where they came about. You know, the aerial battles, just the individual battles, just everything. You just wanted to. There was much more desire and fight coming from Newcastle. Obviously, towards the end, Liverpool get back in the game, but I felt overall, even in the added on time after they scored a goal, how you managed the game out through the rest of it could have been so different, but the way how you just drowned out the game in the corners, just played the game, played the occasion, and just got the job done. I thought it was masterful.
Big talk, Stocky.
Oh yeah, comfortably deserving of it. I think it's fair to say Liverpool looked as tired as you'd expect, but I think that's partly you made them look a lot more fatigued. I don't think they ever even got a chance to really get their nose in the game. Small tweaks by Howe on set pieces, exploiting that they want to have Van Dijk and Kanate stick to their area and just picking out Burn every time. I mean, everyone's watching on the telly and it seems ridiculous, but they stuck with it and just completely like Liverpool's most dangerous player didn't touch the ball. I think I saw Ant and Deck on the telly more than I saw Salah. Like he was just a non-factor. And do you know what? You could say I had an off game, but at the same time, Newcastle clearly done something well. And do you know what? As you both said, business was done.
Yeah, you've just touched on a few points I was going to bring up. To be fair, so as much as you went, Howe got it right with a lot of his tweaks. Did Arnie Slot just get it wrong yesterday? Because there was a stat that came up during the game that Dan Burn had won something like 7 headers in our box and 6 in there, and they still had McAllister on him. So, like, obviously, our opening goal comes in. He's headed it from 14, 15 yards out. Surely, as a top-level manager, you'd expect him to think after the first couple, actually, we've got a man mark this guy, and then we do everything else around it. Not leave what is he, 5'8"? Someone who's nearly a foot taller. What did you think of that from Slot? Because I thought that was just horrific management.
Well, definitely. Go on, Coach. Go on, Coach Sink. Would you let him get away with that? Because I know I wouldn't.
Well, not even so much from a coach's point of view, but even as a player, if you're on the pitch and you can see one of your teammates is getting dominated, and you take the decision amongst yourself, swap. You take my man, I'll take your man. If you feel like you're a bit more of an aerial threat than McAllister, but someone like Gravenberch runs with Dan Burn instead of doing his job, he swaps with McAllister. He's got the height to match him, so it's not, even if he's not going to win the ball, it's just not easily contested for Burn as it was against McAllister. So I look at.
I think most teams play this sort of hybrid, though, don't they? Where they'll have probably their bigger players just in zones, so that the idea is that they win it first, and then you start putting your other players onto whoever just to disrupt their runs. So there should be more than 2 failures in someone like Dan Burn winning it, because whoever's trying to attack the zone hasn't won it, and then whoever's trying to disrupt him. So if you swap him McAllister with someone who's marking a zone, you end up with one of your shortest players covering a whole area. So it just depends how you want to do it, doesn't it? I think mostly teams set up like that these days, rather than just man for man.
Yeah, but then they had players like Kwanzaa and players like that seemed to be in a little bit of a no man's land. And I get what you were saying about attack a zone, but I think what Eddie Howe did that was clever was he was making Dan Burn win headers outside of the zones.
Yeah.
So
he's got more of a high percentage of winning those balls.
Yeah, and
I suppose you would say, though, don't you think, like 9 times out, what a header, right? What a header.
Yeah.
I reckon 9 times out of 10, you're probably relatively comfortable someone heading it from that distance. The chances of them pinging it in the far corner with that speed of the header as well, I reckon you're pretty comfortable. Your keeper's probably going to save that most of the time. But it was just an amazing header.
It was such an uncontested header.
Go on.
I think that's a point. It was such an uncontested header. Even if you put him off slightly, it doesn't take, when you're heading it, it doesn't take much of a nudge for you to like have a 50p head, does it? So, but literally, McAllister done nothing. He just sort of looked at his belly button.
And the problem is with corners, you don't really want to be giving away free headers to certain type of aerial players in the box. Not that kind of space.
Well,
I don't think that's worth it.
On that point, Dan Burn's heading of the ball in attacking areas isn't great. For a man of his size, he like, don't get me wrong, he wins a lot, but it normally just hits his head. So it was exceptional for him to bury it the way he did. It reminded me of 2 players sort of at the same time. It was something you would have either seen Andy Carroll or Duncan Ferguson do.
Yeah, definitely. Was that his second head? Was the second corner?
That's the first. It was the first.
He scored from the first corner.
No, the first.
Probably also a little bit. So it's a little bit behind Slot's preparation there as well. If you're saying usually he fluffs it, right? That's probably part of the balance of risk of putting someone like McAllister on. Like Stocky was just saying, if you can do a good enough job of just putting him off a bit, he's maybe not a great header of ball anyway, as we probably think he should be. But just on the day, It's like if you ping it from 30 yards, it can go in, right? It can go in. And he had his day yesterday, so fair play to him.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And on, so the other point of Stockies that I wanted to touch on was Salah. He's their star man. They've been going on about Ballon d'Ors for a very long time. And I'm not sure if I said it on here or if I said it to someone else, but weirdly, Lewis Hall being out made me a little bit more comfortable of keeping Salah quiet because I really like the Livramento matchup on Salah. And it just proved right. He got nothing out of him. And Joe Linton as well, his work rate also helped shut him down. But do you think that kind of puts a little bit of a blot on all the other stuff that Salah does? That when they really needed him, they needed him to step up and do something magic, and he was nowhere to be seen.
Do you know what? I think with all top level wingers or wide forwards, whatever you want to call them now, there's always going to be just that one defender or just that type of style of defender that they can't deal with. Like Ronaldo would always struggle with Ashley Cole, but obviously you're looking at Ashley Cole, that's the reason why. But then, there'll be other players that will just, in their individual battles, would seem to overcome them, but there are just certain individuals that they'll just always be in their pocket in certain situations. And maybe he's coming towards, the twilight of his career. He doesn't have that same explosiveness to get past certain individuals. Also, I think there's so much attention paid on Salah that maybe, whereas before in the past you had a Mane that would distract and have spread out that defensive awareness, whereas everything on that left hand side you got Salah locked down. I don't think there's going to be the same amount of support coming from the attack line in terms of what's deadly on the left hand side is compared to the same on Salah's side. I feel that that's a problem for him as well.
Fair enough. But even a little bit more on that, because it's 3 games in 2 weeks now that they've needed him and he's not been there. Like both games against PSG, he was non-existent. I think he had 3 touches in 35 minutes at the start of this game, and all of them were 30 or more yards away from goal.
I think Mendes had a really good game. Really good 2 games against him. But how old is Salah? Is he like 33, 34?
33, I would say.
It's 33 in the summer.
Father time don't wait for anyone. And especially when a proportion of your game is on pace, when it goes, it's hard. Like, look at Kyle Walker, for an example.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, he lost a yard or 2, and everyone's like, oh, bloody hell. Like, it's quite stark, especially when you got pace is a big part of your game. I think it can be quite stark, and it really does tell to start with.
Yeah, fair point. Very fair point. Right, so if we had a chat about it 2 weeks ago, after Gordon got sent off and the Lewis Hall injury thing came out, I would have turned around and said we had a very minimal chance of winning. My question is sort of based around omens, because I felt that since like the start of last week, so this time last week, from that point onwards, every single thing went our way. So we got a good win at West Ham. Next day, Liverpool go to extra time with PSG. Trent comes off injured. Dan Burn gets called up for England. It's all of that stuff in my head sort of swayed a pendulum a bit. So that Sunday morning, yesterday, when I wake up, I'm feeling wildly confident, and I cannot understand why. Because 1, we never win at Wembley. And 2, we never beat Liverpool. So you put those 2 things together and it's only looking one way. But are any of you believers in stuff like that? That them little things make massive differences in games like this? Because
I tell you what, I'm a massive believer in, and I kind of push this even in my professional life. I'm a massive believer in. Do you know Dave Brailsford, who's at Man United now, but he was the guy behind the British cycling team, who might have had a little bit of a tarnish rubbed off it in the last few years. But his philosophy was the accumulation of marginal gains. So his argument was, if you just improve absolutely everything by a very small amount, including things that seem silly, like when he came into cycling, he was looking at things like the pillows they went to sleep on and stuff like that. He said, if you can improve everything just a very tiny amount, then overall, when you accumulate that together, it makes a big difference, right? So I'm a big believer in that, and you need things to go your way. I'm not a believer in omens, like if on your way to Wembley you saw 2 magpies. I don't think that makes the slightest difference, mate. But things that actually do make a material difference to go your way, like Trent Alexander-Arnold going off injured, like they do make a difference, right? And they all add up. But ultimately, you've got men in that team, like in Newcastle, like proper tough to play. It reminds me of your midfield. Reminds me a little of when we had Dembele and Wanyama, right? You don't want to go up against Newcastle's midfield. They fought for each other, and you had a plan, and they played as a team. And put all of that together, you're going to have a chance in any game, right? So yeah, I do, but I do believe that those things definitely helped.
Fair. It must have helped Dan Burn, because that is by far the best I've seen him play all season. Outside of Jacob Murphy, he's probably the next one that I want upgraded in the squad. But yesterday he proved me wrong massively.
Hey, that's his fairy tale day.
Yeah,
100%. And more, to be fair, while we're on it, as much as I could talk about this all day, and I don't want to bore the Tottenham fans that tune into this show, what a brilliant, complete full circle story that is for Dan Burn. Because he leaves from Newcastle, went to the lower leagues, built his way back up, and yesterday he gets to lift the first trophy the club has won for a stupid amount of years.
But do you know what? That's what football is about. You know, that sometimes you got to start again. You got to go back down to the lower leagues, work your way up, and then, you know, when you persevere and you work hard, the rewards come back to you tenfold. And, you know, that's a good story for all the youngsters, everyone in grassroots, people that get released and whatnot. It's like not to give up on your dream. And sometimes it's not even going to be in football. It might be in other facets of life and other industries, but like always give 110% in things that you endeavor to do, man. People
are we saying this Dan Burn trajectory is gonna score the winner in the World Cup final next? Is he? Is that what's...
Hey, you know what?
Weekend.
You know what? You never know. You never know, man.
Yeah. For all you kids out there that can't trap a bag of cement, Dan Burn made it.
Exactly, man.
Right, we won't keep boring everybody with a cup final talk. Like I said, I could go on about it all day. Actually, I say that, but we'll move on to VAR court. It still doesn't take us away from the cup final, but let's get into it. Our first one for the evening. So the ball's played over. It bounces. Trippier and Diaz having a little bit of a tussle. It bounces away from the pair of them. And Trippier kind of swings an arm, makes contact with it, and sort of taps it back into his path a bit. Ref doesn't give it on the pitch. Goes to VAR. VAR said his arm is out for a balancing motion rather than anything else. No penalty given. So, Marlon, you've just joined us. I'm going to roll to you on this one first. If this happened against Tottenham and it wasn't given a penalty your way, what would you be saying about this one?
I watched it again today, and I think it should have been given as a penalty. I think there's nothing. It's the way his hand comes out and then cuddles it, kind of, in a weird and wonderful way. It doesn't completely, but I believe VAR should have got involved in this and actually given a penalty. Even though I'm more than happy with the way the result went, I do think that Newcastle did get away with one here, big time. And it's just one of them things. When things are going your way, things are going your way.
Yeah, true. So more or less of a penalty than the one against the Sissoko in the Champions League final.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You know what? I was watching Trippier's movement, and he kind of pretends like he doesn't know about it, but he knows about it. For me, penalty all day long.
Stocky.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Marley. In some ways, you got to give him credit. Like he's kind of got away with it, and it was odd. A couple of weeks ago, we was all talking about handball on the continent and how we want it to go that way, and then all of a sudden, everything the commentators said for about 2 minutes afterwards. And on what's that really crap show on Sky with Stephen Warnock and the ref?
Oh, there's no crap shows on Sky.
Oh, right.
Ref what?
Ref what? They were like, oh yeah, we wouldn't give that. We wouldn't give that. I think everyone's being a bit generous because they don't want to be the one to tarnish Newcastle's fun. But
Wait,
it was
they genuinely said that on Ref Watch today?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, all of them said, no, I wouldn't give it. Wouldn't give it. No, not for me. Not for me.
Okay. Sinclair, over to you.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of the rules of the game, it's away from his natural silhouette in terms of what's happening with the ball, where his body is. I feel like also he wasn't necessarily going for the ball. I feel like he's actually trying to pull what's his face's arm. Diaz's arm, sorry. I feel like he's trying to pull his arm and the ball bounces up unexpectedly. So I don't think he's actually intentionally trying to touch the ball. I think he's actually trying to pull Diaz's arm to try and put him off balance to get him back on side to the ball. But if the ref did give it as a pen, I'd be like, you can't complain, man. He's very lucky to have gotten away with that, especially in a cup final.
It goes back to the one that Liverpool got against Southampton when, what's his name? I can't remember the guy's name, but he handballs it and everyone was like blaming his handball. Now we're looking at this. This is probably more blatant than that one. And they're probably exactly the same situation.
I genuinely think it's all just an illusion. It didn't hit his hand at all. For a penalty. No, but seriously, I think this. I as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, we're in trouble here. They're definitely giving this as a pen, and they didn't. It surprised me. I think it's one of them ones that VAR has been gloriously wrong. So I'm not going to complain, but I do believe it should have been a penalty. So we've all gone, it should have been a pen. Chris, do you kind of agree, or are you going to back up the official on this one?
First thing I'm going to say, if the background noise of snoring comes across, let me know and I'll kick my dog out because she is snoring away next to me.
That's because she was listening to
Very
Newcastle winning the
bored,
trophy.
Trophy talk. Trophy nonsense.
What's that?
Yeah, anyway, it's interesting listening to you guys because I don't think it's a penalty at all. I certainly don't think he means it whatsoever. I don't think he's got any awareness really of where the ball is. I think, and so if you accept that it's not a deliberate action, the next question is his arm in an unnatural position, which is more open to interpretation. I don't think it is. I think as he's turning around, it looks fairly natural part of his movement to me. But that's where the potential grey area would come in. So if the referee gave it and said to VAR, in my opinion, his arm's in an unnatural position, they wouldn't have overruled it because that is just an opinion, right? So for me, it isn't. I don't think many referees think it is. So it's just interesting listening to you guys as fans because normally it's referees giving you reasons as to why we're giving penalties and sending people off when fans don't agree with it. So for it to be the other way around is quite interesting. But yeah, I just didn't think he meant it at all. I think it would be really harsh if you gave that against him personally.
But if this was the other way around, I bet you any money everyone in the media would have gone, no, that's a penalty, should have been a penalty to Newcastle, and they would have probably made a bigger thing of it. Because if you go and look back at that Southampton-Liverpool situation, we all said it was a penalty. This is no different.
I actually think the only difference in the Southampton one is that his arm popped out.
Yeah. But
Trippier brings his arm around into.
Yeah, but that's already the direction.
Southampton player's looking at it, right? The Southampton player looks at it and moves his arm to the ball, whereas Trippier is just sort of spinning round in Kylie Minogue fashion, spinning around. I don't think he knows where the ball is.
See, the problem for me is that the reason why I say his arm's in an unnatural position is because he's going to pull Diaz's arm.
Yeah,
that's not a natural position. if you're just running, or even if you're just trying to change direction, that would be one thing. But
and
he's
his
actually
raised
trying to
hands
pull Diaz's
comes out to
arm.
grab the ball as well. That's
I don't think that's
But
the
he-
thing. I don't think he's trying to grab the ball. I think he's trying to grab Diaz's arm to get around him, to get to where the ball is.
Yeah, but is that not a natural position? If someone's got a little yard on you, even if you give him a little tug just to knock them off balance, that is a natural thing in football.
I
All
wouldn't
players do it.
in that situation now. I wouldn't, because you're putting your hand on someone else. I wouldn't say that's a natural position in that situation there.
He was kind of spinning round though, wasn't he? So I think his arm was out of balance.
That's the thing. The ball's bounced just beside him, but he's trying to get past Diaz into put himself in between the ball and Diaz. But as he goes to reach for Diaz, that's where the ball skips up, and then he hits his hand. So it's not like he's actually trying to touch the ball. He's just trying to get past Diaz to get to a better position to where the ball is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think, is it part of a natural movement of a player on I thought it was. I didn't think it was unnatural. However, the one thing I would say, we mentioned Europe before. I'd say with 99% certainty that is getting given in La Liga, Serie A, Champions League. It's getting given in all of those.
100%.
Definitely.
Couldn't agree more. Right. We're not quite away from the cup final yet, people, because we do now have this one. So just before Newcastle's actual second goal, Newcastle had the ball in the net another time. The ball comes in. I can't remember who it is who has a shot. The goalie dives sort of past Bruno, palms it into Isak's feet. And
technically it weren't a shot. It kind of hits him and goes. And
if it goes in, it's his goal. So
is it Dan Burn? I'm pretty sure it was Dan Burn.
No, I don't think it is. I think Dan Burn's near the edge of the box here. I can't. It's Harvey Barnes.
Oh, Harvey, yeah, Harvey. Oh, it was Harvey Barnes, yeah. I was listening to it on the commentary when it happened. Yeah, it's Harvey Barnes.
So
he has no idea.
From what I can gather, VAR have ruled it out because Bruno is in the eye line of the goalie.
Yes, correct.
But from the angles that I saw, and you can't really see it as well here, Bruno's never in his eye line when the contact's made with the ball. He just has to dive past him to get to where the ball's going. So
difficult.
It infuriated me at the time. And I was actually sat next to two Liverpool fans who, after they saw a few replays, agreed with what I was saying. Because I don't feel Bruno affects anything the goalie does here. But I'm very intrigued.
It depends. It depends how you look at it. Because if Bruno's not standing there, I was about to call him Carrier species. Keller. I don't know what I'm thinking about Carriers today. But if Bruno's not standing there, which he is in an offside position, the goalkeeper probably he can look at the whole situation, and in that situation, because of how quick the ball comes at him, he probably ends up catching that instead of trying to parry it to where he does. I don't know. It depends how good he is. But if that's Alisson, he saves that. He doesn't parry it to where it is because he can see Isak on the other side. To be, I saw it and I was like, to be honest, they should just give him the goal. But whether he's in, because look where his starting position is anyway. So he can't see anything between Guimaraes and Harvey Barnes' foot. He can't see it. That's because that's the way he's just going to go that way because he's guessing. As a goalkeeper, he's guessing, and luckily he got the ball. But he can't see. For me, he can't see.
I mean, I was kind last night, Mitch, and when you and John were talking about this, I just let you go for it. But he's in the middle of the goal. He's in the middle of the goal with a goalkeeper.
You let me try it. You let me try it. Now it's time to get 24 hours.
Bruno's in the middle of the goal, but the goalie's not in the middle of the goal, so he's irrelevant to what the goalie's does next.
But he's still in between. He's still in between where the contact of Barnes is.
Yeah, where Barnes is. He's in the vision of it.
So, granted, I don't think it excuses him essentially passing it into Isak's path. I still think that's poor. And I mentioned last night, don't care about the keepers. Just play your best keeper. It's a cup final. Don't be stupid. But
to be fair to Liverpool, the only game they've lost in the Carabao Cup this season was when Alisson was in goal.
Yeah. Well, still, I still think he's in his eye line. Sometimes this affects these things. I'd have the ump if that was still allowed against West Ham. So
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I personally at the time, I still think it should have been a goal, but I do understand the reason they give.
I'm glad it didn't mess up the result.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't mess up.
I'm very glad it didn't cost you.
Yeah, like a handball in a Champions League final.
Nah, that was funny. Yeah, I'm glad nothing came of it because it would have marred a good day, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but for myself, I think it is offside. He's standing in an offside position. The keeper has to judge where the ball's going to bounce. If he's not there, can he parry it into a better position? We don't know. So for me, it's offside, unfortunately.
See, that's the point. We don't know. So how can you then say he's interfering if we don't know?
Because where he parried it to wasn't a good position. And if
That's his
Bruno wasn't there,
Bruno
doesn't
doesn't
parry it
affect
to a
that.
better position.
His wrists don't get stronger if Bruno's not in the way.
I think it's more to do with the what. If he's got a clear vision of it, I think he doesn't parry it into Isak.
Yeah.
So what does he do otherwise?
Huh? He probably saves it with his feet or something like that, because you can see a bunch of Liverpool players to inside, but at the moment he's being blocked by the shot comes in. He's being blocked by Bruno. No matter, you can clearly see it. Bruno's in front of, like, he can't see round him. He's, so you can clearly see that because you can see if you look at Harvey Barnes' left foot and where I keep calling him Karras because they look so much alike, but you see where Keller is looking. You can see he's looking directly down, and Bruno's in his way. So he's probably even stood there because Bruno is there. I don't
even think this picture's the right picture because this.
I got this off VAR. I got this off Dow. Shout out to Dow.
At the point of actual contact, he can see the ball and he can see Isak. And Isak is the only place he doesn't want to parry the ball, and he's parried it straight to him. It's just crap goalkeeping.
But if he's not there, if Bruno is not there, I think he makes a different decision because I think he can clearly see it then. As a goalkeeper, he will be able to clearly see, and he probably doesn't. I don't think he goes that because he's actually guessing. I don't think he dives. I think he's probably more in the middle, and his positioning is a lot better. Because because you look at it because Bruno is standing there straight away. So what Keller's probably done is gone to the left of Bruno because that's where the ball originally was. So he can see around it.
That bit is completely irrelevant because it's before the point of contact.
But I'm looking at it from a goalkeeper situation.
Around Bruno
but if Bruno's not there, Keller probably just stands in the middle. He doesn't do what he's going to do.
Before the point of contact of the ball from Harvey Barnes, it's irrelevant. None of that is relevant until Harvey Barnes gets a touch.
Yeah, but Bruno's still standing there, so it's still going to make an impact on no matter if he touches it or not. Because what Keller's going to do as a goalkeeper, he can't look out. If Bruno's standing there, he can't look. He's not invisible, so he's going to be in a situation where he's got vision and sight of what's going on. Because for me, if you look at that situation as a goalkeeper, that is an unnatural position to be in when the ball is actually in the middle of the box.
Yeah, I agree with that, but all of that is completely irrelevant because Harvey Barnes has not touched the ball while he's in this position. So what Bruno's done is irrelevant at this point. It's what Bruno does and where Bruno is after.
But Bruno stays there. Because Harvey Barnes is after this because the ball is literally
already in the crap position before Harvey Barnes has took a shot. So it's got.
But that's because Bruno. Yeah, but that's because Bruno. But where Bruno's standing.
No, it's not because
it is. Trust me.
Barnes has a touch,
because the goalkeeper. No, because the goalkeeper. If he's looking for his vision, I'm surprised he's standing there because the ball was on the left. So he's probably looked at it and gone, okay, but he won't move back into the middle because Bruno is standing there because he's looking at going, I need to make a decision now. And he's literally just made the decision to dive. He cannot see whether he's going to get that ball or not. He's just made the decision to dive that way because Bruno is standing there. But I bet you now, if Bruno's not standing there, he's standing exactly where Bruno is. He would have moved across.
That is kind of my point. He's repositioned himself before Bruno's offside. So that part,
But he's still offside because he's still in the goalkeeper's way.
He put himself in a bad position.
Yeah, but he's put himself in a bad position because of where Bruno's standing. But Bruno's still in his way. No matter how you look at it, Bruno is always going to be in his way.
That position is his fault because of it's irrelevant. That part of it's irrelevant.
If you push Marlon's argument a bit further, and if what you said was correct, Mitch, you could just line 5 Newcastle players up across the whole width of the goal. They're all offside. Make the keeper go outside of the goal, let someone shoot, and then go out the way and go, "Oh, we didn't interfere with them." Of course, he's interfering with them. It's interesting debate that you guys have had, but you can't curl the ball around someone who stood in front of the goalkeeper, which involves the goalkeeper losing sight of it because of the offside player, and say it's had no impact on the goalkeeper. In law, this is one of the most straightforward decisions I've seen. There's just nothing. And I think what tells you that as well is like no one complained about it whatsoever on the pitch.
Apart from Isak.
Hey, that's what goal scorers do. We just complain. That's what goal scorers do. They complain.
But just say this happened, and then obviously Liverpool come back on 1-2-1. No one would have complained about this afterwards.
Yeah, they would have. It's a terrible decision. I don't care what anybody says.
you saw on the side like how didn't react to it at all. It's such an. I'm sorry, Mitch. This is like a training video for offside. It's so obvious.
Yeah, well, I don't see how because he doesn't anything carriers does.
Essentially, if you draw 2 lines from the ball to either post, if you've got someone stood offside in that area, 9 times out of 10 you'll get it disallowed.
Yeah, that's
and also just to clear up a couple of other things, where the players are stood is largely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Like if all the Liverpool players are blocking the view of the ball anyway, that doesn't matter. If he'd pinged it in the corner so he could never have reached it anyway, that doesn't matter in law. It's just about, does he have a clear and unimpeded view of that shot, or is his view impeded by a player who's offside? And you can't argue that the question is yes. The answer to that is yes. It is. I mean, there's no way because he bent it round the guy who's offside. How can his view not be impeded?
He hasn't bent it round it. He's just poked it into the corner past him. He hasn't bent
but
it
it's
round.
Gone past him. It's the same thing, right? I mean,
all that basically does is give goalies an out for being in a crap position.
Probably, maybe, but he's offside.
But what's your counter argument, Mitch? That he should stay in the right position where he can't see because of the players that's offside. How does that make any sense?
So you're telling me now he can see, and Bruno isn't interfering with his vision.
But the ball goes past Bruno. Simple question: does the goalkeeper have his view impeded at any point by a player who's stood in an offside position? Yes or no?
We don't know. We're guessing.
Well, we're not guessing. It goes past the offside player, the other side of it.
Have we got Kelleher's eye line at any point of this time?
Well, unless he can see through the player, it's impossible for him to see the ball.
We're making a guess. It might be a guess, but it's a guess, is it not?
The matter of fact, it's not a guess.
Yeah, it's not a guess. No, but Mitch, even from this picture here, even from this image here, right, where Kelleher's standing, from where the ball's kicked to where it ends up, it's got to go past Bruno from where Kelleher's standing.
Yeah.
So he has
Absolutely.
to.
I am never ever going to agree with this. I don't care what.
No, but at some point he's going to lose sight of the ball. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We're just giving goalies an out for being in a crap position.
It's not giving the goalies an out. He's in a crap position, but that's irrelevant because Bruno's standing in an offside position. If Bruno's standing onside, then Kelleher can take.
I find the argument really weird. You're saying he should be stood in a position where he can't see the ball because of an offside player. That makes no sense.
And the thing is, at the time, he doesn't know. He doesn't necessarily 100% know if Bruno's offside.
Yeah, he doesn't 100%.
As a goalie, you don't put yourself in a bad position at any point in time.
Well, he's not in a bad position, is he? He's only in a bad position. He put himself in a position to see the ball because the guy in front of him.
In the middle of the goal, 80% of the goal. How is that in any way, shape, or form a good position?
No,
but before he gets to Harvey Barnes, it's between 2 Liverpool players.
If Kelleher is smack bang in the middle of the goal, which he probably should be in this situation,
then he can't see because of the offside player.
He can, because Bruno's not smack bang in the middle of the goal. He's off to the left.
Yeah, but then if he is standing there, then he might make a better save.
So we've given him an out for being in a crap position.
No, we're not giving it out. The thing is, Bruno's in an offside position. That's the problem. Bruno's standing in the
Just flip it the other way round. You can't give attacking players an out just to stand in a line in front of the goalkeeper and say, well, it doesn't really matter as long as the goalkeeper's stood over there.
For just one player.
It's not though, is it? It's just an
It's a
extension
completely
of
different
what
extreme.
happened. But that would be a logical extension of what you're saying.
No, it wouldn't. It genuinely wouldn't.
Well, it would though, because if there's one player there, if two players there, how could it make any difference? The keeper's just got to stand further across, right?
No, not really.
I don't think you've made a coherent argument here at all, Mitch, I'll be honest.
Oh, well,
anyway, you won. What does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Good job you won. Otherwise, this really would have burned.
That burn.
Right, moving on to the next one. This one from the Arsenal-Chelsea game. We've got, I believe that's Timber.
It is Timber, yeah.
Timber trying to get to the ball. Cucurella's fielding it. He gives him a little nudge. Cucurella goes over and his arm makes contact with the ball on the way down.
How is this not given on the pitch, even before it gets to VAR? As soon as I saw it, that's handball. He's defended poorly. He's tried to get in a foul. He thought, if I fling myself, I can get away with nudging the ball away and I'll get a foul. And the ref didn't fall for it. And if the ref's not given a foul, then it's that blatant handball because it was like the Southampton one we mentioned earlier on. He blatantly puts his arm there. I mean, I don't get how it's not given. He's poor defending, so he's tried getting away with it by falling over and giving it a little nudge with his arm. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how it won't give him.
This might be the first time ever in this season that I'm actually going to be positive on Arsenal, and they should have had a penalty here. Oh my God, Timber doesn't even touch him, and he literally throws himself. Like Stocky's right, he throws himself at the ball. This was more handball than the one we had earlier, than Trippier. I can't believe they didn't give this. But again, I could probably understand why VAR hasn't got involved, because you have to go with what the referee has seen in the on-field decision. But if I'm being honest, if this was for Arsenal to catch up to Liverpool and it was 1-1, yeah, they'd have a point that the referees are against them, because this was blatantly a penalty. Cucurella knew what he was doing as well. I'm sorry.
This picture helps Cucurella when you watch it in live.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that when I saw it, it helps Cucurella completely because Timber doesn't even touch him. To be fair to Timber, he doesn't even touch him at all. He just throws himself because he knows he's got the wrong side of him. He's in an awkward position. And how this was never given as a penalty, the referees have got to start asking questions, man. Because unless he hasn't seen it, if he hasn't seen it, then I can kind of go, fair enough.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. His angle.
He must have seen it. He's got to be his angle. It's got to be his angle. But it's one of them.
This, did he?
Pardon?
The ref didn't get to have another look at this, did he?
No, he didn't. And I think if he did, I think he gives it. But is it? Yeah. Would we say it's a mistake on the referee's part?
I think it is.
Clear and obvious mistake?
I think it's a clear and obvious mistake in terms of if you don't look at it, you don't see what
maybe the refs
is trying to do.
The thing is, the problem we've got here is because VAR and the ref do actually communicate with each other. It'd be quite interesting to know what the ref actually said to the VAR room at the time to say, "This is what I've seen," or "I think he's done this, that, and the other," and they've gone fair enough and moved on.
Yeah, because I feel like
I feel like he has seen this, but he just doesn't think it's strong enough to award a penalty. But in my eyes, this should have been a penalty all day long. All day.
I thought it should have been a pen. I think he's got away with one, Cucurella.
Yeah, he gets on my absolute nerves, but he's got away with one. He's so good at it as well. I think that's what really bugs me. He's so good at it, and he plays for Chelsea. Look, the fact I'm sticking up for Arsenal, that shows you how bad this decision was. No, man. There's two times I'll stick up for. I'll stick up for Chelsea and I'll stick up for West Ham is when they play Arsenal. But this, mate.
It looks a pen, but it's nowhere near as bad as Sigawara's one.
You don't think? I feel like it is. I feel like because he slipped.
It's more similar to Trippier's one than it is to Sigawara's.
I would disagree. I would disagree. I feel like because Cucurella knows he's absolutely lost it. He's now trying to use the fact that he slipped. Oh, I've
His
slipped.
acting
He's near
skills,
my back,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he used his arm to move the ball out of the way.
His acting skills are top notch in this,
Yeah.
and he's got away with it. I have to give him credit; he's got away with it.
He does deserve an Oscar
with
for this.
Trippier, I can see exactly why they didn't give it, and I would agree with them. But with this, I just can't. I can't get my head around it.
I'm on the other side. I would be more inclined to give the Trippier one than this one.
No. What?
Yes.
I genuinely would be more inclined to give the Trippier one than this one.
No, I feel like this one was very, very similar to the Shakira one, definitely.
What bottle of Reds that you got cracking on there, Mitch? I want to know. I want to jot this down. This stuff sounds a business.
Hey, maybe I'm viewing them differently, but I don't see this.
But it's what happens when you have silverware. Going delusional. This is why Liverpool, United fans, Arsenal fans, all delusional. They have silverware. West Ham are just starting to come back down to earth. Don't worry, you got 5 years of this.
Right, so this will be an interesting one to get Chris's view on, because you three are saying one, I've gone slightly the other way. As much as I still do think it's a pen, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as Sigawara's one the other week, and I think Trippier's one's a little bit more of a pen.
I think the Southampton one is just really clear. The other two you can argue about, but for me, Trippier's no intent. This is slightly more interesting. I think there's intent there. The thing for me, I've just watched it back 5 times and tried to determine the exact point of contact on his arm, and that is quite difficult to do. I think it's a bit misleading, this still. I don't think that, because it looks a bit further down his arm. When you actually watch the video, it's hard to pinpoint. You've got to remember that if it's up this part of the arm, it's not handball. So trying to work out, I can only think that's why they haven't got involved, because they can't be 100% sure that it's kind of below the level of his armpit. That's the only reason I can think, because I definitely think he's gone to play it with his upper body. Is it low enough or not is the only question for me.
Interesting.
So what are you giving?
Yeah.
Don't tell us to explain it. Tell us what you're giving.
Because I think once he gets to like the armpit level, it's whether it's clear and obvious then, isn't it?
So if I'm VAR, I'm probably going with whatever the referee thinks on field, because I don't think there's conclusive evidence that it's above or below that line. I don't think you can know for sure. So I'd go with whatever the referee says. If I was the referee, when I was refereeing, who bloody knows? I'd probably give anything. I'd probably end up with like a goal to Tottenham. That's what I'd give.
Not if Ange's the manager, you wouldn't.
Yes, you wouldn't.
But yeah, but VAR, I don't think it's a tricky one. I can understand why people think it is, but that's the only reason. I think VAR have probably looked at it and thought they can't be 100% sure it's hit him low enough for it to be handball.
Fair enough.
Fair point. Right, same game. Slightly different decision. This one, it's a weird one from the still, but Partey goes in on Neto. It's a bit of a lunge. He's stretching a little bit over the ball. He catches him quite high. I don't believe anything was given. I don't believe a free kick was given. I think VAR had a slight look, but decided there wasn't enough in it. Sink, what are you thinking on this one?
I mean, from the still, it doesn't look good, but I think it's more clumsy more than anything. For me, I can't really see it as a red card offence. Is it reckless? Possibly. Is it dangerous? Is he endangering the player? How high is it on his ankle? If it's even on his ankle, is it on his foot? Again, it's not conclusive enough for a red for me. And again, they didn't even give a free kick in the end, did they? Not in this part.
I think they did. I think nothing was given on field, and VAR had a little look.
Nah. No, not a red for me.
I actually think the play might have been stopped slightly before this happened for something else.
Fair enough.
I'm not 100% sure on that though.
No, I don't think it's a red.
I'm in agreement. I don't think it's a red. Look, I've not seen it properly, but looking at it still, I think it's a bit clumsy more than anything. But I don't think it's a red. Yellow card. It should have been a yellow, but that's about it.
I think this still actually does Party a bit of a favour here because I think it looks worse in real time.
Yeah,
but I would agree with everybody else.
He's made a cross as well now.
You got to be careful with Neto. It's probably out for 6 weeks now.
Not had anything from you on this one yet, Stocks? What are you saying?
Do you know what? I spent a good half hour trying to find this earlier on. Like, 'cause I always know Marlon has somewhat provocative stills of these incidents, so I wanted to see it in real time because you got to judge it like that. It doesn't look good there, but I don't really know. I'm never inclined to let an unnamed London-based footballer in his 30s get away with things, so it doesn't look good. Yeah.
Chris, let's move on.
Oh dear. That tickled me. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a red card. We've seen a lot of challenges. We've talked about a lot of challenges like this, and there are some subtle differences, and we've talked about these over the week. First thing I should do, though, is give Sink some props, because I've pulled him up a couple of times on the use of boring referee terminology like reckless and stuff like that, and he absolutely nailed it with the use of reckless and stuff there. So fair play, mate. I'm at least having an effect on one person, which is good to know. But yeah, I just don't. The still doesn't look brilliant, but for me, pretty much what Sink said. Like, does it come? How much injury is that going to cause? And when you watch the video, I think you realise the contact's quite fleeting, and the actual movement of his leg is not really horizontal. That's what referees really don't like, a kind of horizontal planting into the leg of the other opponent. It won't go down well. This is more of a challenge where his foot's coming downwards. So yeah, I just don't think it lacked the force a little bit as well for it to really to be a red card. So, but absolutely, I agree with Sig. It is reckless. It should be a yellow card. But if you miss that as a ref, you've not given the yellow card, and they review it as a red, and it's not enough to be a red, they can't then say go and yellow card him, which probably is a bit silly, really. But they can't. So yeah, that's how he got away with it. But yeah, I don't think it's a red card.
Fair. Right, on to the next one, which is a different game again. We're going to the early game from the 12th.
Just make one more point on that for Stocky. Do you reckon when the referees go up to the party and say, "Can I have your name?" and he just says, "No, unnamed player." Sorry. Move on.
I think Marlon's editing this as we speak.
Yeah. Marlon's got to speak to his lawyer.
Yeah. They're speaking to him while he's back to Arsenal. Two decisions on the burns.
Right.
Next.
We're on to the. Pretty sure this was. No, it wasn't an early game Saturday. This was the one of the 3 o'clocks on Saturday afternoon. Brighton against Man City. Early on in the game, cross comes in. Matoma makes a bit of a hash of it. The goalie, I think is Ortega, his name, gets both hands on the ball, but Matoma sort of bundles into him. The ball gets free, and then Matoma bundles it into the back of the net. Referee on the field gives a free kick to Manchester City, and VAR back him up. Marlon, what are your thoughts on this one?
I watched this at the time, and I kind of felt like that it slipped out of Ortega's hands, but where how close Mitoma's head when I saw the still, it's probably the right decision. It kind of, because the goalkeeper's got 2 hands on it, and I'm always going to be the goalkeeper's union. So for me, right decision. Right decision. They were right to cancel this out.
Okay, fair. Stocky?
Yeah, I think the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, did the keeper spin it? Then he bundled it in with his arm. I thought that was it, but then I watched it a couple of times on Match of the Day. I was like, keeper's got 2 hands on it. I don't think Matoma means to do it, but he's still got 2 hands on it. It's kind of bundled out. So, yeah, good decision. Glad the ref got it first time, because VAR would have looked at that for ages, wouldn't they? I think the ref got it right bang on first time.
Fair play. Sinclair?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Right decision. I feel like Matoma could have been a little bit more clever in there and waited to see what would have happened rather than rushing in, being naive, trying to bundle it over the line. Because the force of which he's running in, the ball's coming in. Is he going to actually have a good grip of the ball as he lands on the floor as well? Who knows? But now he's taken it out of his hands and allowed the ref to give the free kick. So yeah, right decisions for me.
Yeah, I'd agree. It is just about the right decision for me. I also kind of feel that if it's not given on field, it stays. That as a if he gives it as a Brighton goal, I actually don't think they intervene either way because it is quite subjective. Has Ortega got control of the ball? He's got both his hands on it, but has
But
he
yeah,
control of
good.
it? Is the question, and it's a difficult one to answer with in such a split second. But Chris, over to you. What do you think on it?
Yeah, I think it's quite a straightforward one, to be honest. I think the law, I can't say I've read it in the last couple of years word for word, but it used to say pretty much that the goalkeeper's in control of the ball when he's touching it with a part of either his hand or his arm. So, and it doesn't even need two hands particularly. So, do you remember? This will be really pushing it. I'll give you a couple of ones for the oldies who might remember. A long, long time ago, there was a famous one that Andy Dibble did for Man City against Forest, and he came out. Keepers used to do this a lot. You don't see it anymore. They used to like hold the ball and just like in an open palm like that.
Yeah, and he
Don't
headed
see
it.
that ever happen anymore. They used to do it all the time when I was little. And Gary Crosby for Forest came out, headed it out, and put the ball in. You can't do that, even though the ball he's holding it with part of his hands. You can't do that. So I think that was allowed back in that's like 30,
It
40
was.
years ago.
It was, yeah.
There's another instance of it.
That's one.
They changed it ever so slightly because Henri did one when the goalie had dropped it to kick it,
That's
and
slightly different. I'll
they
cover
just
that for you in a second. I'll cover that. That's a different part of the law. The other one I was going to say was there was a Derby Man United game when Derby were in the Premier League, probably when they stunk it out about 20 years ago, where the goalkeeper had gone to the floor and he just held the ball down with one hand on the floor and it was kicked from under his hand and put in, and that was disallowed, and that's also correct. You can't do that. So as long as the goalkeeper's got hold of it with one hand, doesn't matter whether it's balls face up, on the floor, two hands, whatever, you can't then play that ball. Although in this case, it would have been disallowed anyway because it then rolls down his arm and it goes in off his arm. So it would have been disallowed for handball. And the one you mentioned, Mitch, is slightly different. So when the goalkeeper's kicking it out, what we used to call a fly kick, I don't think people really call that anymore, but kicking it from his hands, you're not allowed to interfere with that at any point between him throwing it in the air and him kicking the ball. So you can't then nick the ball. I've seen it a few times actually in the Premier League. It used to be a mandatory yellow card, but I think they've stopped it being a mandatory yellow card. But you can't interfere with that at all. So that's deemed in the law as one action. So that's why that was disallowed. But yeah, this would be a straightforward one. VAR would have got involved. Like I say, even if they didn't think it was the goalkeeper was in control of it, having it just with two hands, even though he's flying through the air and he could drop it afterwards, that's all speculation. If he's got it with two hands, then that's deemed control. And even if you don't think that, it hits the guy's arm anyway and goes in, so it would have been disallowed for that. So it was actually a good spot by the referee.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, fair play. Right, one for the Tottenham fans. Moving on to this one. I haven't actually seen this one personally, so maybe Marlon can do a little bit of a breakdown of what's actually happened in this situation because I haven't actually seen it live. I haven't seen it in motion.
Yeah, I thought it was a nothing tackle as well, Marlon. Yeah.
Yeah, mate. Don't know what's going on with your sound, but we can't hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm on mute because.
So
anyway, I was saying the Bergvall Messi was dribbling past Bassi because Bassi just couldn't handle the new up and coming star that is Bergvall.
I'll put the mute back on.
So what you're saying is that it was not a penalty.
No, it wasn't. Do you know what? Do you know what? This is a penalty, and I don't get why it wasn't given, and I still don't get why VAR didn't get involved because he basically puts it past him. One of them old school where you just touch it around the man and you run around him. That's all he did, right? And one of them where in Premier League football, you shouldn't really let that happen. Bassey's got the wrong side of him, and Bergvall, as you can see by this still, his foot's touched the ball. Bassey doesn't touch the ball at all and takes Bergvall out, basically. And that's it. That's all to it. In this still, it looks, you think it's Bassey's foot, but Bassey doesn't touch the ball once. Not once does he touch that ball. So I was very surprised it wasn't given as a penalty. However, was it a clear and obvious error? I'm going to say, I reckon the referee saw it and he didn't see this incident here where he probably thinks Bassey's got to it and not Bergvall. But I still think it should have been given as a penalty, and I think it should have been overturned, and they should have looked at it. But I'm not going to cry about it because we were crap. But it should have been a penalty. For me, this is a penalty. Look, I've stuck up for Arsenal, and I'm going to stick up for Ange. This should have been a penalty. Doesn't change the game. We'd have still lost. No, it's Spurs. But it should have been a penalty. And I don't get why it wasn't given at all.
Okay.
Yeah, myself, I've actually seen a replay of it, and from the replay that I saw, I feel like it should have been given as a pen as well. To be fair, he's tripped him up, impeded him, so should be a pen.
Stocky?
I'd say this is the most contentious one of the evening. I was a bit 50-50 on this.
Ah, shut up, Stocky. Anyone ask for your opinion?
Well, Mitch just did. Sorry. Do you know what? I would have been. I can live with whatever way the decision went because I really think it was teetering either way. Like Bassey's got in the wrong position and he's tried stepping across to see it out like defenders do, and I don't think he's made a motion to kick Bergvall. Bergvall's running and then kicked him in the back of the leg and gone over. If you see it as a pen, fair enough.
He doesn't kick him in the back. Where the hell have you seen that? He
you mean where his shin's going into the back of Bassey's leg?
No, because he touches the ball.
He's trying to.
No, he touches the ball. He gets the ball.
Does
yeah, Bergvall touches the ball. Blatantly touches the ball.
Yeah, he shifts the ball out of the way.
Yeah,
I'll be perfect.
Bassey's so clumsy. It's clumsy. It's like one of those where you go at defenders because he's got the wrong side of it. It's been very clumsy.
Yeah.
It's not a case of, and I know it's a Spurs man, so I'm going to be a bit biased on it. But even I'm looking at it going, I don't really care what the result was, but that is a penalty all day long and should have been given.
I'll be honest. I watched it once because I wasn't that interested. And
I bet you wasn't.
Yeah. Well, look, I can only tell you the truth from my heart, Mark.
Do you know what? Beto one should have been a penalty. It should have been a blatant.
Where he kicks the floor.
I don't care. He's kicked the floor. No, it doesn't matter. It's a penalty. It's a blatant penalty.
You're so salty. Ever since that Sol Campbell thing, you've changed. Fair enough.
No, in all seriousness, no. But basically, what happens is that when he touches this ball, that's when Bassey's leg comes over him, and that's why it looks. He doesn't kick him at all. It's because Bassey literally takes out his foot.
All right. Then.
Just saying.
I'll take it from the person that's watched it a lot.
I only watched it twice. Didn't care.
That's 50% more than I did.
But I was very surprised. I was very surprised that VAR didn't overturn it, and I'm very surprised it wasn't given as a penalty. If this was a high-profile game, it would have been a lot. I think this is what Andrew was talking about when we basically got the decision against Liverpool. I get it was all wrong. Every time we get a decision going in our favour, everyone talks about it for a week, and then something like this is spoke about like not once. But it's Spurs, so I don't care.
I've just watched the highlights of this game quick, and it's not even on there. So,
which highlights are you watching? Because
Go
watch Sky Sports.
Reason, I'm saying
go watch Sky Sports. Go watch Sky Sports. Stop watching whatever fraudulent TV you're watching it on YouTube. Go watch Sky Sports.
It's straight through the live score app.
No, don't go through the live score app.
Actually, wait.
Sky Sports. Go to Sky Sports Football on YouTube and just watch the highlights, and it's literally straight after.
What I've just watched.
Yeah, no, it's on there because I watched it again today to make sure it was on there. It's definitely on there. Definitely on there.
It's not because Fulham. Let me scroll it back.
Yeah, it's definitely on there.
Trust me, Mitch. Watching the highlights of any Spurs game doesn't take you very long, mate. Honestly.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And it's after 1-0.
Yeah, so look, the picture that's up here shows that Fulham are 1-0 up. Yeah, the highlights go from Fulham going 1-0 up to your ex-player Sessegnon putting Fulham 2-0 up.
No. You're not watching it. That's not right.
Oh,
Go to Sky Sports Football. Go to YouTube and go to Sky Sports. Don't go to Live Score. Go to the actual.
That's what
Let's
I'm
do this
watching
properly.
on YouTube. Sky Sports Premier
And
League.
as a promotion to Sky Sports people.
Trust me, that's what I was on. I've just gone to Sky Sports Premier League. I've watched it. It goes from Muniz putting them 1-0 up to Sessegnon putting them 2-0 up.
I'll send you a link in a second. Chris, talk about it while I send him a link because he's getting this all wrong.
I got a bit of sympathy for the ref, just in the way it looks, and that's how you referee. Really, you look at things, and mostly you get a feeling very quickly on whether things are or whether they're not. And what this one comes down to really is what is a trip. So at the absolute extremes, if I'm running past you and I knock the ball past you, and then you just dangle your leg and kick me, and I fall over, that's clearly a penalty. The other extreme, which I think is where Stocky's going, is if we're both running for the ball and I just kind of step across and you run into me, that's not a trip, right? And this is right. And in the middle is a lot of grey. So this isn't a classic trip. Like he's not really kicked Bergvall, but Bergvall has definitely got to the ball first. Bassey kind of steps across him, doesn't kick Bergvall, but makes no contact with the ball at all, and then stops Bergvall getting to the ball. But I can kind of see from the way that the players' bodies moved as to why the referee thought maybe it wasn't. I don't think it's the worst error in the world, but on balance, I find it hard to argue that this shouldn't be classed as a trip. Like Bergvall's made no attempt, just to be clear, to initiate the contact, in classic Ashley Young fashion of dangling the leg into the defender. Bergvall doesn't do that. So the contact is initiated by Bassey, but I think if Bassey had made contact with him directly straight away, it was obviously a penalty. But because it's Bergvall's next stride into Bassey, it looks a little bit less clear. But I still think that on balance, it's a penalty. But I wasn't hugely upset by it when it happened. I can kind of understand why. As to whether VAR steps in, really, it depends on what the referee said. If the referee had said, I've not penalised it because Bassey's played the ball, I think VAR should step in because that's factually incorrect. If he said, I think Bassey's just stepped across, he's not made any foul, the contact's come from Bergvall, I don't really agree, but that then does fall into a bit of, you've got a different opinion to me, and does that meet the high bar we try and have in England? Probably not, which is probably why they didn't step in. What you'll probably find with this, because all of these get analysed by an independent panel, right? I reckon, and this happens a lot, I reckon the independent panel will review this and say it should be a penalty, but it wasn't clear and obvious enough for VAR to intervene and overrule. That's what I think probably will happen.
Okay. Fair enough. It actually does look a little bit like Bergvall's pulling a bit of a Harry Kane there. Like, lose your weight, drag your leg, over you go. But I'll have to wait for Marlon.
It does look it, but it's not as bad from the video. It does look it like from the still though.
Okay, fair enough. Right, let's go on to our last VAR decision of the evening.
I'll stuck this one in.
Yeah, it threw me off when I clicked and it was there, to be honest with you. So, we are going over to Italy. Como against AC Milan. Dele Alli's return. And he gets sent off pretty sharp. Don't think it was given on the field. Ref's gone to VAR, had a look, come back, gone to give the red card. Walker's actually tried to stop him giving a red card, but he's given it anyway. Off goes Dele Alli. Not long after, off goes Cesc Fabregas for Hungary in a pretty similar decision as well, I think. But then he actually also came out later and said Dele Alli shouldn't be doing such mad things or whatever it was he said. But have people seen this one?
No. Close I got to seeing this. I don't know if it was real, but there was like a screenshot of one of their WhatsApp chats between him and Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was just on the floor because I was knackered or something like that. I'm not sure how real that was.
So,
Oh, no, I haven't
so
seen the incident.
this is very, very similar to Skelly. Very, very similar to Skelly. But I think it's more to do with the rustiness of Dele Alli being not as fit and as he has been, because he has missed for the last 2 years. And comes down to, if this is a Premier League game, he gets away with this. Well, unless it's Mike Oliver and it's an Arsenal shirt. But besides that, I think he gets away with this. It looks like he goes to trip him, and he just catches the back of his. I think he catches the back of his ankle or his foot. I can't remember what he catches. But it's not. It looks more harsh when it's slowed down than when it's live. It just looks. He does blatantly go to trip him because he's getting past him, but he's so rusty and cold, and I just don't think 90th minute. I don't know. I don't think it's a red card in Premier League, but in Italy, I think this is going to be given all day long. All day long. I think in La Liga it's given. Nothing in any. It's just unfortunate because I think for everyone else. And do you know what? The one thing I liked is Kyle Walker did try and stop him from getting sent off, but unfortunately, the ref can't cheat.
Yeah, the ref's already made his decision.
He's already made. Yeah, well, the ref already made his decision on the field and's gone. There's nothing in it. And I think there is a mess. I think Dele Alli and Loftus-Cheek have spoken, and I think all Dele Alli said is that he did go to try and he tried to trip him because he was getting past him. But what's happened is he's caught his foot.
Yeah, he has. I've seen that. There's a little WhatsApp image floating around, isn't there?
Yeah.
Of a little exchange between them. There's another sort of angle looking from Loftus-Cheek's left at the tackle, and I can see why they've given it. I can definitely see why they've given it, because the top part it's the bottom part of his foot that catches his ankle and a bit of his foot.
But it's very similar to Skelly, isn't it?
Or on like the inside of his calf.
Yeah. But it reminded me of exactly the emotion that Skelly did, where he has gone to trip him, and unfortunately he then gone and caught the man, and you can see why the referee. I know they were complaining at the time, but you can see why Mike Oliver's gone to send him off. However, he's this different division, and
I don't even think it's different division. I think it's different levels of contact. Yeah. Chris uses the term fleeting quite a lot when we're having this discussion. There is nothing fleeting about the contact. Whereas Skelly's one, he clips him as he lunges in. Dele Alli doesn't clip him; he gets him proper here.
He does get him proper, and if the conversation is correct, he has intended to trip him. So actually, the tackle is intended. It's just unfortunate the way it's ended.
Yeah, it's ended in a way that's dangerous, and I think that's the reason he's been sent off, and I can see why.
Just watch the video. That's a red. It doesn't mean it, but that's a red.
Yeah.
It's because he's ex-Spurs, and I know it is.
Mate,
you're a bitter man, you know that. Look, we don't win anything. Why'd you have to be bitter against Spurs? Leave us alone. You're better than us. Newcastle are better than us. QPR in about 5 years will be better than us. Just leave us alone.
He doesn't play for you.
Yeah, he hasn't played for anybody for 2 years.
Yeah, that's a red.
Yeah.
Chris,
I agree.
The refs ever slightly consider a different decision depending on what time it is? Like, have you known them like someone's putting a stinker of a tackle in the 93rd minute? And you're like, is it really worth sending him off now?
Yeah, sod this.
Maybe a lower down, maybe.
Yeah.
Professional level, though, because the referees are competing with each other, right? For cup finals and whatever. You can't really afford to do that. I would definitely say, though, that there is. I'm not sure it's a conscious thing as such, but I think it's pretty irrefutable evidence that referees are more lenient in the first early period of the game, right? People get away with more. I'm not sure it ever entered my head, but it must do to some level, because that's just, you see it all the time. People get away with more early on. But I don't know if everyone's had a go, but I thought Mitch sort of summed it up really. There's also a buckle of the ankle here, which they look for as a sign of sort of force. It's not forceful as in really hard and malicious, but just with the angle he's come down on his leg. I tell you what it reminded me of. I don't know if you remember, but we did discuss this one. Was when Ndidi was sent off for Leicester. Or was he sent off? I can't remember, for raking his studs down the back of Cole Palmer's leg earlier in the season. It reminded me a lot of that, and we all said that should be a red card.
He got away with that. He got away with that.
Yeah, I think he did. And we all said it should be a red, right? I thought it was pretty similar to that one, to be honest.
Fair point. Fair point.
Any
Right.
other business?
Yeah.
I tell you that, actually, quickly on that, I think the more interesting discussion is, was that the right thing for Kyle Walker to do? Because apparently it's blown up in like Italian social media and stuff. Because what if he'd have stayed on Dele Alli and then scored the winner? Like, how do you feel about that as an AC Milan fan? I'd have been fuming.
That is it.
I get that, but I also get it from Walker's kind of point of view. He's obviously mates with Ali. He's been out for a very long time. And for him to get sent off after 9 minutes or whatever the hell it was is...
I'll tell you a little story, very quickly, a little story. I think I might have told this before, but the youngest player I ever sent off, and I'll try and keep it super short. He was 11. I was doing this little kids game, and he just starts...
Unless he swore at you, there's no reason to send him off.
Not at me. Foul-mouthed abuse and hand gestures to the crowd. And then I've got that decision as a ref. Like, what do I want this kid to learn here? Do I want him to learn that that's okay and you can get away with it? That's not the point of the story. I sent him off, and the manager came to see me afterwards, and he was absolutely fine with it. He said, "No, absolutely fine. The kid's got to learn." And he said, "This is no word of a lie." He said, he's just going through such a tough time at the moment." He said his mom was murdered 4 weeks ago.
Oh,
like, okay, like, I'm really sorry, but I'm not a social worker, right? All I'm there to do is apply the laws of the game, and it's a similar sort of thing here. He's there to apply the laws of the game, not consider Dele Alli's background into whether it should be a red card or not. So.
Yeah, sort out your mic, Chris.
Yeah, mate, it does this sometimes. It's just a shit laptop, but I need a new.
Right. Man. So, as we were saying, any other business rolling on to Thomas Tuchel's first England squad? I've got some quite strong views on this, so I'm going to hold fire for a second, see what some others think. Me and Stocky had a chat about it yesterday, so let's go on to Sinclair first, actually.
Yeah, mate.
What do you think of this first squad that Thomas Tuchel was picked?
The only thing I would say, I feel like Gibbs White deserved to be in there in terms of the performance he's had this season. He obviously started to make his first appearance at the back end of last year in the last England meet-up. So I feel like he should have been involved in this one. But other than that, really, like Henderson.
I think he's been added. He got added today.
Who, Gibbs White?
Yeah.
Who dropped out? Who dropped out?
Hold on, I can tell. I think it might have been Cole Palmer's a doubt, so Gibbs White's been added.
Okay.
I thought I heard that. It's because I got confused with Morgan Rogers, but Gibbs White's been added.
All right. Well, in that case, then.
So everything you just said for the last minute.
Yeah. Then I feel like he's probably been one of the standout players this season in terms of from an England perspective. I feel like he deserves to be in there. Based on
can I ask a question though? Because everyone's like talking as because this is all gone on form. But do you think Tuchel's picked this squad not for form reasons and picked it because of who he thinks is going to play better for his system?
Yeah, 100%. This cannot be done on form. It can't be. There's no way to pick this on form.
And the question then becomes, and this is why it's so quick, because you've just said there, like you feel like Gibbs White should have been picked on form. But if Gibbs White doesn't fit the way Tuchel wants to play, why take him?
I guarantee, wherever you think of playing Jordan Henderson, Gibbs White will go in there and do a better job currently.
Not necessarily. I get what you mean. Not necessarily.
But better than that, Elliot Anderson.
Yeah.
They're the same player. It's just Elliot Anderson's younger and can cover more ground. Jordan Henderson not having it. Rashford, yeah, he's got a few assists.
But none of us have watched Jordan Henderson for the last 2 years.
No.
Let's all be honest here. None of us have watched Jordan Henderson. We're all judging Jordan Henderson back at Liverpool, and we don't know what he's been doing for the last. Tuchel might have gone and said, "Look, Jordan Henderson, the way he's playing now suits my system. better than an Elliot Anderson?
I don't see how.
Because you got to remember, he's not here for 2 years, 3 years, so he doesn't have to build this squad for a next tournament. He's got 18 months, and he has to win. He's been told to win the next tournament. Unfortunately for the rest of us, because everyone's is moaning about Jordan Henderson, and I'm looking at it going, well, if he's been given a remit of he's got to win it in 18 months, he's looking at some of them players. You're looking in there and going, okay, but if he's got 18 months and he knows he works for his system, why the hell are we listening to all of us lot, basically? You got to fit who's going to fit your system.
Jordan Henderson was getting rubbish when he left Liverpool.
And it depends on what job. It depends on what job he's going to do.
Like, I don't need to watch Jordan Henderson now to know that he isn't going to be any better than an Elliot Anderson or an Adam Wharton in whatever role Thomas Tuchel wants him to do. I don't need to watch him to do anything else. This guy, he wasn't great when he left England.
But it's not about being the best player. This is about fitting Tuchel's system. And
so
this is the
one
biggest.
of them two players don't fit what Jordan Henderson's done. Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson.
Probably both. That's why he's not picked them.
I don't agree. They're very.
This is Tuchel. This is not us. Because if I'm looking at it, I would have picked Wharton all day long. But I looked at this squad and I went, actually, if you go back to the way Tuchel was at Chelsea, this is very... Because I'm looking at it going, why the hell is Solanke in there and not Watkins?
Watkins is injured.
Right? But it's still... It's a case of there's certain players that shouldn't be in there. Like Morgan Rogers should be in there. But what's Curtis Jones doing in there? There's been better players than Curtis Jones this year, but you can blame
Gerald Kwanzaa, what's he doing in there? Carl Walker, what's he doing in there?
Well, Carl Walker's the best example because he ain't got no legs.
Taking 4 goalkeepers.
Like, the goalkeepers, you kind of dismiss. You just dismiss the goalkeeper situation. But he's taking Dan Burn. No offense, but what the hell's Dan Burn going to give England right now?
He's probably one of the best English centre backs in the league.
No, he's not.
Left side width.
How is he not? Out of the centre backs he's picked, the only one I've seen perform better in the game than Dan Burn.
Dan Burn is not mobile enough for international football. I don't care what he done yesterday, brilliant and all, but Dan Burn is not mobile enough for international football. He's not. But he's been picked.
And the thing is, if you look at our last tournament, is Dan Burn going to give you a better performance than Mark Gahey and Konsa in centre back?
Dan Burn is the leader in a defence that I'm going to go off the cuff here because I'm not 100% sure.
Livramento makes sense. Livramento,
you defend than the rest of the centre backs in there.
Do you know what Dan Burn?
These centre backs.
Dan Burn gives me Chris Powell vibes.
Their defence.
Yeah, Dan Burn gives me Chris Powell vibes because I just don't see what's the point of
Chris Powell never led a defence. Dan Burn marshals the defence, by the way. Which other one of these centre backs do
that? Mark Gahey.
Mark Gahey.
And the rest of them? Colwell? Kwanzaa?
Yeah, but Mark Gahey and Dan Burn are basically vying for the same position. Mark Gahey's a left centre back.
If he's going to play free, he can play Dan Burn or Gahey in the middle.
Yeah, that's if he's going to play free.
That's if he's going to play free. Well, we don't know yet. We don't even know he's going to play.
He normally plays a free, so I'm going to assume he's going to play free.
If he does, he might not.
He might not.
Didn't he at Bayern, he played 4 at the back?
Yeah, he did. He did play 4 at the back.
It didn't really work out for him, so he might go back to a 3.
If he's taken this many defenders and we're playing a 4 at the back, it's an even worse squad.
I'm just going to say it fits his system because some of them I don't understand, but
maybe he's going to want to flip between the two. Maybe he's going to want to do one game with 4 at the back, maybe one game with 3 at the back. The thing is, it's only his first squad anyway, and it's nothing really to.
I bet they won 6-0.
Yeah, it's nothing to get too worked up about. The things for England is that everything always boils down to if we get through the group stages and then what we're doing in the knockouts. That's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. All these games now is just for Tuchel to just get his system and can he get it under. And the thing is, we don't really want to be like blowing teams away right away because what inevitably happens, we get to a tournament and then we flatter to deceive. So, I just hope he just ends up getting the information across that he wants to get across to the players that are going to be in there regular. and then they can get some sort of form in amongst themselves, because everything just boils down to once we get through to the knockout stages, because all I want is England to win something in my lifetime.
And if he does play, if he does play free, let's say he does play free at the back, Jordan Henderson ain't starting. He's not starting in front of Bellingham and Rice, is he?
No.
No way.
And it depends on where Tuchel wants to play Bellingham. Where does he see Bellingham? Does he see him in the central midfield area? Does he see him in the attacking part of the team?
Well, it's going to be if he's going to play 3-4-3. Let's assume he is going to play 3-4-3 for now, because what we saw at Chelsea, the front three is going to be what Kane. Who's going to be on? He'd be Saka when he's back, but it'd probably be Bowen for this one, and then probably Anthony Gordon on the left or Rashford.
He's left himself no option. He's got to go Kane, Gordon, Bowen. Like
he might put Rashford
in 4-3. What is the point of having Cole Palmer and Phil Foden in the squad at all?
Well, at this present moment, Cole Palmer's not going to play.
Palmer's in it, isn't he?
Palmer's not 100% fit.
We've got three like number 10-y types in the squad in a guy that doesn't really play number 10s.
Well, this is what the strange thing is about it. But yeah, like Jordan Henderson, like Eze, where's he going to play in all this?
Eze is a completely different conversation for me, because I don't even know what this guy's best position is. He's one of them that he's a great player, but where are you meant to be playing? Is there even a position that exists that fits this guy? Because I can't figure it out.
So for Palace,
as well,
he can play off the left, but he plays. But where most of your left forwards will stick out wide, Palace don't do that. They're too right wing and left wing and come inside, and then their wing backs will literally hug the touchline instead of your two wingers doing that, and that's where Eze is good at.
So this is the thing. Eze at Palace are playing a similar system to what Tuchel's going to adopt.
That's what I think. Because Glasner's from that neck of the woods, so
yeah,
it might be what he's going for. I
Palace's system was similar to Man United's system.
Say that again.
I thought Palace's system was similar to Man United's.
What is Man United's system?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. They play left and right 10s, which is just
left and right 10s, yeah. But like, they're not. The Man United
you have a left and a right 10 is.
But Palace are the best example. If you watch the way they play, I reckon that's going to be pretty similar to what. And this is why then you do ask the questions of why isn't Adam Wharton around? Because he literally plays if he's going to play free. But I think with this team as well, he can then go play a 4 if he wants to.
Possibly. But also we got to factor in. Obviously, we look at someone like Mainu, who's he stepped in to the. What do you mean, like starting position in terms of in the Euros? When he gets back to fitness in the next sort of round of internationals, is he gonna get in the team?
No.
So we can't really pay too much attention to this particular squad.
Yeah, the only waste of space is Reece James.
If Kobe Mainu gets back into the team, it'll be even worse.
The only waste of space in that squad is Reece James.
Of course not.
Man, he's never going to be fit.
That's Tuchel's favourite player. What are you on about?
I know what you mean, but he's never going to be fit. He's going to be injured for like half.
That's even more reason. That's even more reason why Tuchel's going to pick him, because he doesn't even know if he's going to be able to pick him in the tournament.
If he wants to have a little talk with Reece James, all he has to do is call him. You don't have to pick him for an England squad just to see if he can still play.
I get the Reece James thing, because it gives you so many tactical tweaks without making a sub. Because he's like a mad Swiss Army knife. He can play left, right. He can play right centre back. He can drop into the midfield.
He's made of glass. That's the only thing.
He is made of glass. But Tuchel might even be looking at it saying, you know what, he might be made of glass and never plays for Chelsea, but if I can get a tournament out of him, I know what I'm going to use him for.
Nah, you know what? Injured players, the players that get injured, I never understand why you take them, because especially you remember when Fabio Capello took Ledley King and we were all looking at going, why? You can't play every 3 or 4 days. You're playing tournament football. Yeah, he might be the best defender that you want, but it's pointless. But taking players to tournament is the worst thing you can do, especially when they have injury.
On the flip side of that, if you're taking Ledley King as your 3rd or 4th choice centre back, He's the perfect player to bring in if your centre backs get to the semi-final and one gets injured. He's the perfect man to bring in if he's played no tournament at all, to bring him cold, because that's how Liverpool King did it. He didn't train; he just turned up and played.
Yeah,
Because
but when Fabio Capello took him, he wanted to play him. And then, actually, great point. Luke Shaw, the last tournament, what a waste.
Oh yeah. I don't.
But that's how I see Reece James. Reece James and Luke Shaw are the same to me.
Luke Shaw went to the tournament injured. That's different.
Yeah, but I'm looking at going, Reece James has played, how many games this year? Barely played.
3, 4 on the bounce now.
Yeah.
He's played just as many games as Rashford had. He's played just as many games as Eze has since he's been back. Like, these guys are all in the same boat, really.
There's a couple there just on name.
Yeah, Phil Foden's been terrible this season. What's he doing in there?
Like if you're playing them two wide forwards, surely are you not having Hudson-Odoi who's like having a cracking season?
Yeah, but he's not picking for. I think he in his head he's going, this is just a lucky season for Forest.
Yeah, but if they're playing well,
but
and
they're not. He's not picking. Yeah, but he's not picking them on form. You can see by that squad, he's not picking them on form. He's picking them by the ability that he knows that he can get out of his system.
The Hudson-Odoi one's the only one that makes a little bit of sense for me, because if Tuchel and Hudson-Odoi overlapped at Chelsea, he just might not fancy him from knowing how he plays. That's the only one that makes sense for me. But players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka,
he put him out on loan as well. I'm pretty sure he was the one who sent him out on. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure he sent him out on loan because he got injured, didn't he? Didn't he get injured? Like his biggest injury might have happened.
To be fair, that's a good shout on the chat.
Yeah, it's Conor Gallagher, and I'm not even a fan of him.
No, neither am I. But he's much better since he's been in Madrid.
But he, of course, everyone's better when they go Atletico. Look at Trippier.
He's rubbish. He's all right, but now he's with us.
Yeah, Conor Gallagher's the guy that basically Ange wanted all summer, and I personally probably would have said he probably could do the same job as Henderson, if not better.
I don't know about that.
My problem with Gallagher is everyone always used to say, "Oh, he wins the ball so much." I'm like, yes, because he's usually passed it to the other side.
He's not not at Atletico. To be fair to him, he's really changed as a player at Atletico.
Yeah, and that's why I think that's a decent shout, because he has got a lot better. Yeah, I didn't even think of him, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and say I watched Jordan Henderson enough over the 2 years to even make a judgment. But from what I know of Jordan Henderson, I don't hate Jordan Henderson as much as everyone else. I know me and Sink are fans, but I know everyone else is not. They're Henderson's biggest fan. But I know but Henderson's one of them guys that a lot of people dislike. But as someone in your team that you play with, you love him.
To be honest, I think Henderson's more for the training pitch and talking on the pitch more than anything.
Bit like John Terry.
Yeah.
Just turn up and train them.
No, but it's just whilst actually having someone that can vocalize what the manager wants. Like I feel like a lot of managers must have seen his quality in terms of how he could orchestrate his team on the pitch when they played against him. Like a lot of opposition players talk about how vocal he is and how he instructs his teammates on the pitch. And just in training, that will be helpful, just because you can then get the in-game information as what you want. I don't feel like he's going to play a lot of minutes. I'll be surprised if he plays both games. But
I'll be surprised if he plays.
I think it's more there for leadership qualities more than anything.
But you can just take him anyway. Like, get him in on some kind of mad role. He doesn't need to be a part of the squad, an actual number.
But when you do that, do you kind of like?
Yeah, but what Ajax might want him to do that.
Give him the bibs, give him the bottles. He can hand them out and tell everyone they're doing really great. Slap him on the back, clap his hand.
That's what Jared Bowen can do. No, I'm just keeping Saka's seat warm. I'm sorry. I gotta stop.
Yeah, I can dig out someone that lifts the trophy, Marlon.
True. Man, I support Newcastle, so it's all right. We won a trophy yesterday.
How weird, man. How weird.
None of this glory and stuff, mate. You can stay where you are. Well, as we're on the Tottenham channel, what are we saying about Jed Spence?
I'm glad he's not in it.
Not having him over a Kwanzaa or a Walker.
Look, I'd have him over Miles Lewis Skelly because but again, if I look at it, Jed Spence is not going to fit a two. If he's going to play free, he's not a left wing back. He's more of a right wing back, and he's picked Walker and he's picked Reece James, so he's never going to get in front of them. And unfortunately, it is what it is. And Livramento, out of the two, has probably had longer this season to prove himself. So I've got no look. At the end of the day, I feel gutted for him because his form for the last month has been excellent. But when I look at it and look at the bigger picture, I'm just going, look, we need you more than England needs you. And the last couple of games, like I'm Spence's biggest fan, but he has made some crucial errors in certain areas where you're starting to see some of his weaknesses. And for international, he's got to get better at it. He's got to maintain a level. Me personally, but it is what it is. But Miles Lewis Skelly is in there for obviously balance.
Miles Lewis Skelly's in there because Lewis Hall's injured.
Maybe so, yeah, maybe so. But yeah, he's gonna. I don't know because he's a walking red card, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, he does like booking. I heard a stat the other day that he got booked before he made his Premier League debut.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, he was chirping off on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that is mad. I love that.
And the weirdest thing is, he's out of the two, him and Wanyeri. Wanyeri is the better player.
Yeah, but
look, for me, I look at this and go, look, everyone should just let Tuchel do what he needs to do. Ask questions later. It's his first squad. It's never going to be the greatest. No, I think if we looked at Gareth Southgate's and we looked at Sam Allardyce's and we went back, I bet none of their squads were the one they ended up with. But I'm glad to see Rashford back, if I'm being honest.
Where?
I like Rashford.
I'm confused by this.
I like Rashford.
He's such a dead player.
He's not a dead player. He's been all right at Villa.
No, he's a dead player.
Him and Asensio have made a massive change.
Whoa.
They have.
Asensio has made a massive change.
Yeah.
Rashford has done a little bit.
A little bit.
He's done more than what anyone at Spurs has done. So, of course, I'm looking at it with different glasses, mate.
Yeah, but he's playing underneath a better manager.
Marlon, let's not do this because
but look at
if we go by a real table,
I look like this.
real Premier League team, we're going to
One
finish
second.
next season.
Let me get into this.
Only
Getting out
teams
of Manchester United.
Championship
Look,
team.
getting out of Manchester United is the best thing that could have happened to all those players because just look what Anthony's doing for Real Betis. Just look at the difference. And even Rashford, he's. I know a lot of people dislike him, but he still can give you something, and he's given Villa what they need right now.
Yeah, I'll agree. He's contributed and he's done very well to get at Man United. Doesn't mean he deserves to be in an England squad after a couple of assists. There's people been doing it on a more consistent basis.
But who's playing better than him?
Who's playing better than him?
Hudson-Odoi.
Not the last. I know he hasn't. Hudson-Odoi for the last month has not been. I think he's go against Manchester City, but if you go and ask Forest fans, it's been Alanga's been the better player.
Yeah, Langer's been the better player, but still
Hudson-Odoi has not barely been in the games.
Alanga's not English though, so we can't.
I know. No, but what I'm saying is, if you go and look, when I've been listening to Forest fans for the last few weeks, I've been on a lot of Spurs channels, and they haven't even mentioned Hudson-Odoi until that Manchester City game because they said he's literally been hot and cold. He's barely been the player that we all think he is. It's Alanga that's been the better player out of the three, and Wood has been excellent. And again, he's from New Zealand, I know. But I don't think Hudson-Odoi has been as great as everyone's making out to be. He's been better.
I think this guy Rodney Trotter in the chat at the minute is.
Yeah. Someone's fishing. He's going to need a better net.
Join me, Rodney. Join me.
Again. Trophy lifting Jarrod Bowen. You let me know when any of your boys pick something up.
All I'm going to say is we love our ex-players and a lot of them have been picking up trophies. Trippier picked up another trophy yesterday, so don't get it twisted. Our boys go and win trophies elsewhere.
Cool. Marlon, your fingernails must be hurting from all this clinging on you've been doing.
Mate, don't get it twisted. I'll tell you this now. Andrew will win the trophy when he leaves us. I don't care where it is. It might be in the IPL or anywhere like that. But
The IPL.
yeah,
He's going into cricket. I think he might be better suited for that. I'm sure Chris would agree.
But no, in all seriousness, I've got no qualms with the squad. I don't see the players you guys have mentioned are not going to be first team players. We know who roughly the lineup's going to be if we looked at it.
I think that's the problem that England has, is that they always go in with this mindset of finding a starting 11 when I think our biggest strength is the fact that we could set up in so many different ways to throw
Yeah.
off. I think that should be our actual strength, and being different, being adaptable.
I think that's what this squad's done. If you look at it, it has been very adaptable.
Yeah, I do. I see that, but I think there's a few players there where it's like, oh, well, yeah, Foden's going to be good eventually, so I'll just get him in now. Be bold, make them work for it. Like, there's a few players there that haven't been that good.
Yeah, but
make them want it.
Okay, but I'll ask you this question: He's only got 18 months. Has he got 18 months to start messing about who he can try and test over the next?
Who are these two games? Who are these two games?
So he's got Albania and Latvia. Is it Albania and Latvia?
Why not try people that are more sort of get a bit more?
But Albania is not going to be easy. The two games, Albania is not going to be easy. It's not. But Latvia, you're kind of looking at going, they should be winning that game. But he's got to try and win as many games as possible. So he's to try and testing over the next 18 months when his remit is to win something. I don't understand why England have done this. However, this is what they've gone for.
Because they want to win something. That's why they've done this.
And you can and when you look at that squad, you quickly go, okay, there's old heads with new heads.
Yeah, from the FA's point of view, the way they're seeing it is that Gareth Southgate has left this proper team, left the England setup, left everything in the strongest position it's ever been. So for the next manager, which is an elite manager coming in, it should be a straightforward job, an easier job to then take him to the next level where Gareth Southgate couldn't. So, he's not going to take time to make people work for things. He's going to want to come in, make sure he gets his key players that he definitely knows he wants to be in, to introduce himself, get them familiar with his philosophy and everything else, and get everything moving quickly. And I think where Southgate has set up this whole club mentality, maybe it will hopefully gel a little bit easier for Tuchel, and he will have that club feel when he comes to it, and he can give his own spin on things quickly and effectively.
Nicely put. I hope so.
They're probably going to lose or draw the first two games. I'm really thinking, we were wrong. But no, I think
such is life.
I think this is where me and Sink just kind of agree with what Tuchel's doing. Like, we can see why he's doing it, whether we agree with it completely. But I don't get what the big hoo-ha is.
Yeah.
Because we
get through that first group stage, that's when the hoo-ha should be. But it's in it. Everything's going to be a hoo-ha and everything else.
Why haven't you picked this man? Why? Maybe this is the manager's going on his system, not what you think. Not Gareth Southgate. I'm going to pick everyone on form, and then when it gets to knockout stage, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah. And then he takes certain players and then don't even play them. So you're like, what are you doing?
But that's the thing, like, how you got to think now, right? If we look at this squad now, take a picture of it, and then the squad when we get to our first tournament, how many of them are actually going to be there come tournament time?
The turnover.
Look at this. So, Southgate had Bertrand and Lingard in his first squad, so things in 18 months' time, this squad will be completely different.
Yeah. That's for sure. It will be that certain players hasn't been picked, so it makes no difference.
There you go. Mitch, is it flickering for you? Because mine is flickering like mad.
No, mine's all right, man. For some reason, my mic just completely stopped working, though. So I had to jump out and jump back in.
Well, like mine. when I tried to start the show.
I kept trying to talk, and I was like, "What is going on?" I'm getting ignored, and then I realised the little mic thing's not going up and down, so it just weren't working.
But anyway, we're not back next week unless you lot want to do an England show. Well, I'm not. I'm not doing international. I need a week off. This Spurs crap's killing me. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, it was like FA Cup week 2 weeks ago. You had a week off. What are you talking about?
No, I didn't. I was here for that. Because we had the Premier League in between. Do you remember we had the Premier League on the Wednesday and then the FA Cup, so we had all that VAR to talk about. So yeah, I'll leave it up to you lot, man. Whether we're back next week or not, there's no VAR.
We'll see. Watch this space.
Yeah, we'll make a decision. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how bad the first game is from Tuchel and Henderson.
Well, you lot promote your shows, and then I'll tell my lot what we're up to tomorrow, and Chris can follow me about again. I know he can't talk because his mic's gone.
Chris can follow me about.
Mate, you know what he does, yeah? Like, I'm going to sit there and say, he follows me about, and if I say 1 ounce of positive thing about Ange, my lord. but 99% of what I said is against him.
He's holding you accountable for your love. Someone's going.
I say one little thing. It's like, come on, leave me alone. Look, he's on mute. His mic's gone.
Vent, Marlon, vent.
Yeah. Then follows me about. If I'm on Last Word on Spurs, if I'm on We Are Tottenham TV, if I'm on Savas, he's there.
Good, someone's got to keep an eye on you.
Yeah, that keyboard works out. He's about to give you some.
Keep it up, Chris.
I've noticed that we ain't seen Sarah for a while. Where's she been? But yeah, hey ho. Yo, Rich, what's coming up on Where the Owls Sleep? Oh, I got it right.
Yeah, first time you've got it right. Well played, well played. We will be back next Sunday. We will definitely be talking England, and we're probably going to do a spotlight, which is we're going to pick one of the guys that are normally on the show, and we're going to talk about their club, their favourite moments, their highs, their lows, and what it feels like to be a fan of that.
Well, don't pick Stocky. I can do Stockies for him.
Well, you couldn't. He won a trophy.
But yeah, winning the trophy, beating Spurs 3 times in a season that we had to do a mug. Oh, you remember? I bet you got the mug, innit?
No.
Oh, I bet I don't even lie.
No, I barely have a West Ham mug, mate.
He got it in a decanter instead.
Yeah.
It's where I drink your tears from.
Hold on. Have you beat us this season?
No, we've only played
and
one, and we were horrendous.
Yeah, and we're crap. And you beat us. You know we've lost 14 games this year in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know we've lost 19 overall.
Yeah.
And you know we drew to Tamworth, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, but yet West Ham may beat us.
They're probably in the league, though.
The trick is, I never say we're good. that's my greatest trick. I never claim we're good.
Whatever. and by the way, they're not above us in the league. They are below us.
On goal difference.
No, you're not. Oh, yeah, it is as well. Goal difference. -16. What do you mean when that happened? That happened last week when we drew to Bournemouth.
Wow.
And they lost to you lot.
Oh. Well, you're back.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
So you're back next week. Sink, you're back with us when you're with us, yeah?
Yeah, mate. I'll be back here.
Chris will be back wherever I am, stalking me in the comments. So if you want to find him, I'll promote that in a minute. Tomorrow. Make sure you tune in tomorrow if you're a Spurs fan. It is going to be. We've got 2 guys that still like Ange and still think he's the man. On, I don't know who's on the outside though, because Ash is organising that part. But I had to go get the ins because they only answer me. I don't know why. So we've got 2 people. We've got 2 people tomorrow that still Ange in. So I think Luke's on again. And with Orin is back. It's going to be interesting because he is what he is. And Chris will never work on this show again. We're going to replace him with someone better. It won't be that hard to find. But make sure you tune into the Rivals on Wednesday too. I'm hoping that Toon Tactics is on because he's got a lot of gloating to be doing.
Yeah, 100%.
He's got some gloating.
Gotta have Toon back this week.
Yeah. I know he's been away, but he's got to be back this week. Hopefully he's back because it's going to be interesting. The Spurs fans are just going to sit there and go to get him. But before I go, does anybody think that like Liverpool are going to collapse?
Nah, not enough.
Not enough. They'll struggle.
Yeah, not saying that Arsenal can win the league, but they'll lose a few games between now and the end of the season.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. Okay, as long as you lot have the confidence, I don't, but all good. The way the season's gone for a Spurs fan, you can imagine.
You ain't got to worry. Like Arsenal ain't got a striker.
True.
Liverpool can collapse. Yeah. So what is it? 12 points.
12 points now. Yeah.
They're going to have to lose 4 and then not win another game out of the last 9.
You never know.
And then Arsenal have to. That's not the weird thing. The weird thing is Arsenal having to win 9 on the trot.
You never know. Weirder things have happened.
I would put a lot of money on Arsenal not winning.
Something in my head, right, and I don't know why, something keeps going on my head. I wouldn't be surprised if there became a situation where Arsenal catch them with points, and you know that Anfield game where they've got to play each other, history's going to repeat itself with David Rocastle. And I just keep going on in the back of my mind, please don't let this happen, please don't let this happen. Right? And I'm just getting really worried because the PSG game, the 2 PSG games, plus how they played against you lot yesterday, they're starting to, you can start to see they're starting to fade a little bit. And this is I know usually under Klopp they'd fade in. Yeah, I said, is it Michael David or Mitchell? Is it Michael Thomas? Why did I say Rocastle? Yeah, Michael Thomas, isn't it? Yeah, Michael Thomas. I keep Rocastle on the head. But yeah, when I look into it, with Liverpool right now, I'm looking at going, they haven't played well. Usually Klopp used to go in January. Is this the time when Slot starts to lose some games? And they've got Everton coming up as well, again.
Yeah, but they've got Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, Tottenham, Chelsea before the Arsenal.
Don't worry, they're beating us. Don't worry.
They're comfortably beating West Ham as well.
Probably.
Comfortably beating.
No, I don't put it past Potter, man. He's got you lot going for a bit. I still think he's a crap manager, but he's got you going.
The best we'll get is a draw because we've got like 8 people in the back. we'll go shove Wan-Bissaka on Salah.
Yeah. It's fine. Arsenal have got us second last game of the season and they always lose their bottle against us, so that's not a problem.
We all hope you're right, mate. We all hope you're right.
Yeah. You lot are going to be partying for the next 2-3 months. You lot ain't going to see a win again this season.
We scored more goals in that game this season than they've had shots on target.
But it's a different perspective now. This is the whole: you've won a cup. You're going to go off the ball. You're going to party for the next 2 months.
Trust me, we're still finishing top 4.
Oh yeah, I forgot you still think that.
People looked at me like I was a bit mad when I said we was winning the Carabao Cup before the first leg of the semi-final. What did we do yesterday?
Yeah, true. True. But to be fair, you did wipe the semi-finals with Arsenal. You deserved it. You deserved to win it.
Slapped up the top 2. Let's put it right. We didn't just beat them; we slapped them up in them 3 games.
Jesus. See what I'm saying, Stocky? This is how you was 3 years ago. At least you're calming down now.
Nah.
We snapped him up. We did this.
We did. We battered Arsenal in both games, and we dominated Liverpool yesterday. It could have been 4 or 5. Let's have it right. And as much as people say, "Oh, it's the Carabao Cup," we've beat all of the top 3 and Chelsea to win it. So it's a good trophy to win this season for me. We haven't scummed.
If Spurs would have won it, we would have beaten Manchester United, Man City, and Liverpool on the way.
There you go. So that's a good way to win a cup.
Yeah, but Ange fucked it up. Good old Ange.
And you would have also had to have beat us to win it as well.
Nah, yeah, we weren't doing that. Eddie Howe's clearly a better tactician than what's his name, Ange.
Well, yeah.
He's proved that. But it's still. But going back on that, the fact that no English manager's won a trophy since Harry Redknapp was kind of a bit of an eye opener.
Damn
Yeah,
it,
it
innit?
is.
But how many are given a chance at the top clubs?
Also damning.
But how many are actually good enough though? As well, that's the other question. Eddie Howe's been good enough.
I think it just falls back into the process to get the badges.
It's difficult here. Yeah,
It's harder here. Less people do it, and it's only ever really quite decent level ex pros that go into it. Whereas in other countries, you get loads of them because it's just easier to get, and then you actually get some really good coaches coming through. Whereas
Yeah.
we don't seem to get that over here.
No, you don't. They want to keep it to a select few over here. That's
Yeah.
it's like a gentleman's club. They only want to let the select few come through, but like you'd never get a Jose Mourinho in here. Look at Will Steele. Will Steele's had to go get his badges and all that elsewhere.
He's
Just
still not got them all, has he?
and he still hasn't even got them all. So it just shows you that it can happen. But this country is just they need to revamp the way they do their refereeing and their coaching.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, that I think it's the top 4 badges. It's cheaper to fly to Germany and do your badges out there by a considerable amount than it is to stay in England and do it.
Yeah, most people used to go to Holland and do them because they were cheaper.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy the way it's done.
Yeah, the FA need to look at that. They need to look at that, and the referee a bit as well. They need to look at both because, man, you know what they should do? The referees get ex-prison inmates to do it.
Well, as Chris would tell you if he could speak, the refereeing on the continent isn't all that.
Yeah, just before you go line up for a game, just get the referee's rap sheet of what he's been in prison for. And be like, okay, I'm messing with him today.
Yeah.
Today's referee got off from multiple murders due to a technicality.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay,
Evidence was inconclusive.
Do you know what? We shouldn't say things like that because now in the FA they'll probably take it up.
Yeah, they're always known for having their finger on the pulse.
Yeah. But on that note, as always, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you're not already, please go over to Where the Owls Sleep. I need to start putting that in the title now that we can find it. But yeah, make sure you come back tomorrow. And as always, Angie and are out. Chris loves Ange. He thinks he's his favourite. Loves him to bits. Can't wait to see him next season when he lifts that trophy. But yeah.
Werder Bremen.
Come on, you Spurs.